Hello, my name is Lois Ancestral. I am a spiritual teacher and student of relationship mastery. Why? Because life is relationship and we as human beings need to practice. Today we are going to have a little conversation with Source or God or whatever you'd like to call it and the subconscious mind to work through some relational sticking points and conflicts that are in this collective energy at the moment. So I'm going to be using my language flashcard deck. It's just too much of a faff to set up the table where you can see it. It messes up the lighting, so you're just going to have to listen to me interpreting the cards and not necessarily see them. It's not so important to you what's written on the cards, in my opinion. It is something to support me to see the subconscious, because there is no person here to reflect back to me. This is acting as something for me to be in relationship with, like physically, as well as having the camera here also is creating like a kind of mirroring for me to interpret through. So let's go. So what is going on in this collective that's most important for us to see to create greater harmony in our social situations and internal relationships? I've been noticing the need to create this video by observing my own life in the past days and weeks, and there have been two conflicts in my interpersonal life that have made me want to look into this, but it's not so clear for me to be able to see where to focus, which is why I am using the cards. Interesting what is happening. It's not so clear for me to be able to see. I can't see. I don't want to see. This is something that I am noticing, a pattern. I don't want to see. I don't want to feel. The situation that happened in my life also had to do with pressuring other people or being on the receiving end of pressure. That was one side. And then the other one is having no boundaries or bulldozing someone else's boundaries. They're like each have two sides of the coin. So this is in the energy at the moment. So the importance of boundaries, the importance of a willingness to see and feel, the understanding as to what causes us to not hold our boundaries and honor the boundaries of others, what causes us to not want to see and feel, and how they connect. Because if we're not willing to see and feel, we also can't see and feel the other person, so we're not going to be able to honor each other's boundaries. And if we can't see and feel ourselves, we're not going to be able to have boundaries. So let's look into what is causing the issues with boundaries and the issues with willingness to see and feel. What comes to me is gaslighting. Okay, I have the cards in my hand and I've not used them yet. I just needed a support. So gaslighting. What is it important for us to see about gaslighting in this moment? How does it relate to the unwillingness to see and feel and boundaries? Okay, so the pattern, which is like I'm not looking and I can't feel that, is an internal gaslight to mirror whoever gaslit you in the environment that you grew up in. So it's about the internal gaslighter who's a protector. My cat is meowing at the door. One sec. Okay, responding to each other's needs. Where were we? Where are we? Gaslighting. Internal protector part. Gaslighting. Okay, how does that relate to boundaries? How does the gaslighting relate to boundaries? Because it's like an unwillingness to see and feel. It's not malicious, it's a gaslighting pattern. No, that doesn't exist. No, don't look at that like this. How does that relate to boundaries? Your boundaries don't exist. Okay, as a child, because you were gaslit, if you're in this collective, you were gaslit, you receive the message, your feelings don't exist, your boundaries don't exist. So how would you be expected to be able to have a willingness to see and feel yourself and also to have boundaries if you developed an internal gaslighting pattern in response to being gaslit yourself in order to stay in confluence with the parent? How could you have a willingness to see and feel and boundaries? How could you even have awareness of that, of what needs to be seen and felt and your boundaries? Because that's what gaslighting is. It's like to put something out of awareness. So let's now begin to un-gaslight ourselves. So seeing and feeling the energy that is here. Seeing and feeling our boundaries. Let's do a little practice. So I invite us to come into a little meditation with me now. It's coming to me spontaneously. Let's do it. So get yourself comfortable or just continue watching the video, whatever you want. And let's begin. So in this moment, seeing and feeling. So just beginning to take some breaths to just ground and center ourselves. What can you see in your internal world in this moment? What does it feel like to be you? Do you see and feel any energy that is not allowing you or not validating towards you? Just observe. We're not demonizing any protective mechanisms that we have, we're just becoming aware of them. Because at a certain moment in time, they saved your life. They kept you connected to the people who you were living with, who your life depended on. So even though these mechanisms of not seeing and feeling ourselves in order to stay in confluence with people who our life depended on were serving and protecting us at one point, now they are harming us, provided you are not still living with those individuals. If you are, I invite you to consider leaving, because you will not be able to break free of these patterns without some distance from that environment. And of course, free will is yours and no choice that you make is wrong. But if you are out of the environment that you grew up in, then these mechanisms no longer serve us in the way that they once did. They actually prevent us from seeing and feeling ourselves, from being aware of and voicing our own boundaries and things like this. So in this moment, let's practice becoming aware of our own boundaries. So what is a boundary? It does include no, I don't want that, or no, I want you to stop that. However, this is like level 10 of intensity of boundaries. This is when boundaries have started to become violated. Maybe not level 10. Level 10 is obviously more violent, but it's getting up there. This is boundary violation. No, stop it. No, don't do that. It's a part of that. It's advocating, no, don't violate my boundaries. However, it's not all that boundaries are. So no is important, and also so is yes, and so is this is me. And if we can become more familiar with this is a yes for me, and this is me, this is what I like, this is what I need, these things, then we are less likely to run into a boundary conflict. So in this moment, what is you? What defines you? So I'm going to speak some parts of boundaries that we all have in common. So I breathe. I am breathing. That's a boundary. It's a boundary that we all share. And then I have a body. That's also a boundary. I am insert gender or sex. That's a boundary. I like insert your favorite color. That's a boundary. I need, for example, validation in this moment. That's a boundary. So, are you understanding what boundaries are? So, we can feel the boundary of our human being through our body and through our feelings. So, what I think, what I feel, my body, my needs, my desires, my preferences, my best interests, my ideas, and my dislikes, what's not okay with me, and my non-negotiable things. These are all boundaries. And these are not all things that we've all been allowed to have in the situations we grew up in. So in order to keep us safe, parts of us mirror the external gaslighting and blind us from our own thoughts, feelings, needs, desires, boundaries. And so in this moment, we are looking at the presence of the protective personas and also what we have been unaware of about ourselves, our boundaries. And just having an awareness of both. Could it be possible to assign the internal gaslighting part a new job of being the advocate for our boundaries? So the answer to that will be individual for each person. So I invite us to take a moment to ask our internal gaslighting protective part if it wants to come on board with advocating for our boundaries. Okay. So whatever the answer is inside for you is okay. It's perfect for you. For me, the answer from my internal gaslight sounds something like, I cannot promise that I will always be able to do this. However, I want to become aware of our boundaries. And do you want to try to advocate for them rather than against them? Why? Because it keeps us safer in social situations. It helps us be able to see who can and cannot be safe for us, who can and can't consider us. It also stops us from getting into situations where we've violated our own boundaries and then got ourselves into some danger. Yes, it is actually dangerous to violate our own boundaries, yes. So this that's happening at the moment is parts work. Okay, so I can feel an internal split. So I'm going to come back to the center of me and be aware of these two different parts that are talking to me right now. And so we're going to go into some parts work. It's okay for you to just watch me do it if you want to. So whatever you want to do, you can do you. I'm going to do some parts work, and perhaps it provides some mirroring for you. So there is a part of me that wants to take my time to reconcile things with my internal gaslighting part, and there is a part of me which is always hurrying me up and not wanting to be in pain. Okay, this is deep subconscious work that is happening right now. I'm actually not really very clear on what is happening. Okay. Okay, what I can feel is, it's like I am wrong. I did it wrong. Yes, we can take as long as we need to. So sometimes when working with parts, there can be like a name for a part that you've been using to communicate with it. It is also okay to become confused and to see past like the idea of what I think is happening and things like this. When we are dealing with the subconscious mind, when we really go into what we don't know that we don't know, it is very murky, and it is natural to be confused in those moments. So in this moment, I am allowing myself to be confused, because in the process of un-gaslighting oneself, that is disorientating. So it's okay to feel disoriented. It's natural that we would feel disoriented from our internal compass, having been gaslit away from it our whole life. Okay, so to describe what I can see inside of me, it's in a way two sides of the same coin, both of which are a gaslight. One is my internal truth doesn't exist. I exist to be in confluence with the rest of the group, and this is more the part that the golden child identifies with. And then the other gaslight is, I'm wrong, and that's why I can't be in confluence with them. I'm the problem. And this is the scapegoat aspect. So inside myself right now, I'm seeing both the golden child aspect and the scapegoat aspect, or the codependent aspect and the narcissistic aspect. So they are going through a process of sharing information with each other right now inside of me. And this is how I felt at the beginning of the video, like I don't know what to do, I don't know what to focus on. This is deep subconscious work. Okay, so I feel to ask, as the central part of Lois, listening to both of these parts, is there conflict between you? The part that I'm calling the golden child and the part that I'm calling the scapegoat, is there a conflict between you in this moment? Oh, okay. The golden child represents good and the scapegoat represents bad, and this is making sense now. What I've been seeing in my own life are some themes. I've been seeing morality as a theme, like this conflict between good and bad. So how do we resolve the conflict between good and bad? We own what's good about us and we own what's bad about us. We own good and bad as a part of us. So I am not the golden child and I am not the scapegoat. I have both inside of me. I am not inherently good or inherently bad. I have both inside of me, and I am also something beyond that. It seems in this moment what happened, I wasn't able to communicate it with you because it was just processing. But what feels like happened is like the gaslighting pattern that was really activated inside of me seemed to relax, and then I became able to see the good and the bad parts inside of me, and they do not feel like they're in conflict in this moment. They feel like they're both allowed to be here, and that there is value in both of them, and that by both communicating with me, we can find greater harmony, because we don't need to be good or bad. We don't need to be defiantly authentic or self-sacrificingly confluent. We can see when is it strategic to use either and both, and how is it possible to, how might it be possible to act from a space which is a collaboration of both of them and something beyond. I feel better than I did at the start. I feel some relief. So I'm hoping that by watching along and feeling and experiencing this together, it caused some relief in the energy, in that we don't need to choose good or bad. We don't need to fight good against bad. It's okay to have good and bad inside of us. It's okay to be right and wrong. And that who we are is all of that, and also something beyond that, or none of that, or both. No way. Morality is the card that came out. Crazy. Okay. So that's confirmation that that was an awesome closing message. So thank you for being here with me in this experimental, amazing, spontaneous, intuitive, subconscious flow. I appreciate every single one of you being brave enough to do this work and to support each other and to create healthier, safer relationships inside of us and also with each other. If you are super sincere about practicing the mastery of relationship, then in the description box below, as always, is my life-saving love and wisdom framework that I invite you to receive as a tool for yourself to support you in your practice. I'm also available for one-to-one sessions where I can support you in subconscious processing like this and whatever kind of relationship mastery you need in your life. I'm available. Book a consultation with me if you feel that call and you have that need. Thank you. Take care. Lots of love. Bye for now. Namaste. That was trippy.